Ke aku nui, ke aku rahi, tēnā koutou katoa. My acknowledgements and greetings to you all. Ka mihi au ki te hunga kua riro, ki te pō, rātou kua whiturangitia, haere atu rā. I pay homage to those that have left this physical realm and have taken their place as stars upon the night sky. Ka hoki mai ngā kōrero ki a tātou te hunga ora o te ao whānui. Tēnā koutou katoa. I now align my words to the living throughout the world. Greetings to you all. I acknowledge the global reach of this webinar and send greetings to attendees from Egypt, United Kingdom, Mexico, Philippines, United States, Sri Lanka, India, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, Canada, Chile, and of course, Aotearoa New Zealand. E mihi nei ki ngā mana kua whakakotahi I tēnei wā, ki tēnei kauhanga ātia. Tēnā koutou katoa. I'd like to thank you all for joining me today in this webinar. At this point, I acknowledge this webinar differs to other webinars WSP have run. Different in that it is not project or technology specific. It is focused on our WSP Rautaki Māori, our Māori strategy, and how it is part of our DNA. I will talk to how the Rautaki Māori influenced and influences a culture change within WSP New Zealand and how we endeavour to live the strategy in the way we work. My kōrero or chat will provide an insight to Aotearoa New Zealand. I will cover our approach to developing our Rautaki, including talking to the Rautaki itself. At the end, I will cover a project that shows how the Rautaki express through the work we deliver. Throughout my kōrero, I will use kōrero or chat, I will use Te Ao Māori or Māori language, and I will endeavour to apply an English translation alongside. He uri au o paraurangi, ko hukurangi te maunga ko waiapu te awa, ko rauta te waka ko Ngāti Parau te iwi, ko rauru me rāhui oku marae, ko Reginald Proffit ahau. I am a descendant of paraurangi. We as a people have a long-held connection with the lofty and beautiful mountain Hukurangi, where the Waiapu River flows and the lands of Ngāti Parau are located. Here you will find the marae, rāhui and rauru. I am Reginald Proffit. At WSP, I hold the position of Director Pou Arataki and am a member of the New Zealand leadership team. Outside of WSP, I'm the chair of Te Kōkiringa Taumata, the New Zealand Planning Institute. Throughout my career, a key focus has been growing the recognition of Te Ao Māori, Māori worldview, tikanga Māori, protocols and practices, Te Reo Māori, Māori language, and mātauranga Māori, Māori knowledge and expertise across the professions that work within the Tai Ao environment. I won't talk directly to the points on this slide, they are there for you to see. Before looking in detail at what we are doing with our Rautaki, it's important to look at what's happening around us, the changes occurring in our society and communities. It's said we are in a Māori renaissance. There are a number of contributing factors to this. In my opinion, three key factors are the hard graft of our ancestors, those before us, continually raising the challenge to the crown. 2, societal dissatisfaction with environmental management practices and a growing affiliation to cultural environmental management practices, which take a holistic and connected approach. 3, the Treaty o Waitangi, the Treaty of Waitangi, and increasing accountability through legislation and regulation. So in 2020, WSP celebrated 150 years in Aotearoa New Zealand. It was originally the Public Works Department of the New Zealand government, then becoming a state-owned enterprise in 1988, before finally WSP acquisition in 2017. Māori Business Services is a team within WSP New Zealand, specifically focused on supporting iwi Māori entities in achieving their development aspirations, as well as supporting non-Māori clients engage with Māori entities. The Māori Business Services team has been a part of WSP New Zealand for over 20 years. WSP New Zealand have been strong supporters of our Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Group, and with support of the New Zealand leadership team, in 2017, a small cohort of Māori staff started work on a holistic strategy defining what and how we can work within a cultural frame in Aotearoa, New Zealand. 2021, the New Zealand leadership team spent 2 days and a night at Te Ao Māori Marae at Point Chevalier, Auckland. This is a key point in time where it was acknowledged there was a lot of work to be done, and an overwhelming commitment was given to make the Rautaki a part of who we are, part of our DNA. It is as much about what it means to us as people living in Aotearoa, New Zealand, as it is to be working with iwi Māori. Our Rautaki wasn't developed in isolation. It draws on the WSP Global Strategy, the WSP Australia New Zealand, and WSP New Zealand strategies. The core part of the visual representation is the whare, or house, image, applying a distinctive Māori design element. In this way, I welcome you into our WSP Rautaki whare. Excuse me. At the apex of our whare is our focus, partnerships that enhance the mana of Māori and WSP. This encompasses the way we work, whether that be directly with iwi Māori, internally amongst ourselves, or for our clients when working with iwi Māori. Our purpose draws on a whakatauki or Māori proverb. This whakatauki applies a Māori frame of thinking that aligns with our WSP New Zealand vision, creating what matters for future generations. Our aspirations recognise where we are at and the commitment to achieving where we want to be through applying our Rautaki. By 2025, WSP is connected and able to work with and for Māori. This is a clear statement that we have work to do to develop our capability and capacity, our ability to work in this space in a mana-enhancing way. Our Rautaki Pou, or strategic priorities, are shown in red. These 5 Rautaki Pou give us a direction for action. The first one, build capability and capacity, focuses on building our ability to work alongside iwi Māori and how we reflect this capability in the work we deliver. 2, value and naturalise Te Ao Māori, is how te reo me ona tikanga, language, protocols and customs are normalised in the work we do. It focuses on providing support to our staff and recognises the rich and diverse collective of people and nationality we have within our staff. Understand and deliver Māori outcomes is to grow our understanding of what is important to Māori and the opportunity to incorporate these in the work we do. Grow the business connects our growth mindset to realise advancements and deliver market-leading growth. And in the centre of our PO is partnering with Māori, which encapsulates acknowledging Māori as mana whenua, who have authority to speak of their rights, their land, and their status. Valuing Māori mātauranga and indigenous knowledge. Recognising Māori as decision makers and key influencers. At the base of our whare are our WSP guiding principles. Through the Rautaki, we apply a Māori kaupapa to represent the growth and development needed. We draw on a Māori creation karakia, incantation or prayer. This karakia connects to and reflects where we are at. Te Pū refers to the origin, the potential of a seed. Te More, the development, to the taproot. Te Weu, the growth of lateral roots before leading to Te Aka, the shoot emerging into the light. Key actions have been identified and include developing a WSP tikanga, which defines how we work and interconnect to Te Ao Māori, the Māori worldview, tikanga, customs and protocols, and reo, Māori language. We know we have gaps. We want to define where these gaps exist and develop initiatives to address those gaps through building our awareness and understanding. Recruit and build our expertise in our Māori business services team and recognise the value of Māori staff with technical expertise. And to own our own, to own our past. This is especially pertinent given our 150 years in Aotearoa New Zealand, where some of our past interactions have been detrimental to a relationship. Those experiences do not define who WSP is now, and it's important to grow from the lessons learnt from past mahi with iwi Māori. Building our understanding of clients' relationship aspirations with iwi Māori, as well as building our understanding of the aspirations of iwi Māori. So how have we been progressing? A key indicator has been the growth in our Māori staff numbers. Since the beginning of 2022, we have significantly grown our Māori business services team, growing from 3 to 10 staff, and our Māori business whānau, or wider collective Māori staff, to a number now over 60 Māori staff across a range of technical disciplines. Our Rautaki and Māori business services whānau are now integral to our major service offerings, including our New Zealand Future Ready initiative, where we work to integrate the diverse capabilities of our team to unlock potential, cultivate collaboration, and drive dynamic growth. Our suite of services aims to future ready our people assets by leveraging Māori engagement to foster innovation, inspire success, and create evolutionary opportunities for Māori prosperity. When we reflect on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the interesting aspect is that our Rautaki has relevance to all 17 goals listed. However, two stand out. Goal 10, reduced inequality. One aspect here is being the opportunities for Māori within technical professions. Our vision of building mana-enhancing partnership clearly links to Goal 17, partnerships to achieve the goal. Here I draw our attention to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. In addition, our Rautaki aligns with and is in accordance with this declaration. Indigenous peoples are free and equal to all other peoples, including the fundamental and foundational rights categorized in 4 key principles: self-determination, participation in decision-making, respect for and protection of culture, equality and non-discrimination. Here is an example of some work that we've been doing. The Tarawera Okataina experience is a Māori-owned tourism venture based in the central region of Te Ao Māori, the North Island of New Zealand. It is a joint venture between 3 iwi partners: Ngāti Tarawai, Ngāti Rangitihi, and 2 Haurangi. The experience involves a guided walking experience which will take visitors from Okataina over Tarawera and end at Waimangu, a distance of 45 kilometres over 3 days and nights. Visitors will be hosted by mana whenua to learn the stories of the people and place and immerse themselves in the beauty of the landscape. WSP were engaged to design a visitor experience, including necessary infrastructure, provide an economic case, and contribute to the financial case of a single-stage business case. At the core of the visitor experience is to honour the mana of tipuna, our ancestors, who have gone before us, and to create opportunities for tamariki and rangatahi, our youth, both now and into the future. The outcomes the iwi consortium sought to achieve were te ahure, reconnecting iwi members with their whenua or land by providing iwi hapu whānau with wider cultural development and learning opportunities. Whakangao rawa, achieving a commercially successful tourism experience which provides a sustainable return on investment. Te ohanga, provides economic opportunities such as employment, tourism, training for the 3 iwi partners. Te mātauranga, educating manuhiri or visitors on the history, customs and aspirations of the 3 iwi partners. And finally, Te Ao, delivering a regenerative tourism experience which supports the kaitiaki, the guardianship responsibilities and objectives of the 3 iwi partners. Our project team were able to provide a full range of professional services required for this project, including a Māori project manager, a Māori design lead, Māori business case lead, economist, a Māori architect, and a quantity surveyor. Key to our success was working closely with our client to define collective values and goals to underpin all design decisions and to ensure these were integrated at all stages of delivery, including the final delivery of the single stage business case. Integral to this was our team's capability and capacity to work in a Te Ao Māori, Māori worldview frame, where Te Ao Māori, Māori language, and tikanga Māori, protocols and customs were important. Results achieved included the integration of cultural values through all phases from business case through to redesign of built structures, the expression of rangatiratanga, leadership, through establishment of the iwi consortium and kāwanatanga, governance structures. Capturing the cultural narrative, encapsulating cultural values and reflected the cultural significance and rich narratives of each of the 3 iwi. And providing a clear pathway for regeneration of people, assets, landscape, and indigenous and regional economy. Now, Rautaki is specific to how we connect with and interact with the cultural frame of Māori and the indigenous people of Aotearoa New Zealand. I hope there are aspects of our approach you find are transferable to your work, whether this is with indigenous peoples in your country or respective groups within your community. Kia ora koutou. And now, if there's any questions.
Thank you, Reginald, for a fantastic presentation. Just mentioning quickly the housekeeping items. You can still log your questions in the question box for the Q&A session now, and also the presentation slides are available to download in the handout box on the GoToWebinar control panel. I will start with the first question. What value would the development of global indigenous strategies have in the growth of the business?
Yeah, great question. And I suppose there's 2 aspects to it, and the approach that we've definitely taken here in Aotearoa New Zealand is recognising the ability it has in terms of connecting with our people, our staff. It's the ability to create a greater understanding and a closer affinity to the culture unique to Aotearoa New Zealand. That adds multiple benefits in regards to, especially for those of our staff that are recent immigrants to Aotearoa New Zealand, and giving them a greater understanding of Aotearoa New Zealand. It also provides alignment of principles and values, understanding who you're dealing with, what's important to them. I think both of those are transferable to other nations. And lastly, it's increased the scope and ability for the work that we deliver here in Aotearoa New Zealand.
Thank you. The next question is, I'm interested to learn how a non-Maori researchers engage with the Maori community in a meaningful way.
Yeah, that's a great question. And hopefully there's a core theme, excuse me. Hopefully you can identify through our Rautaki a core thing. It's around partnerships, and fundamental to partnerships is relationships. For all work, irrespective of whether it's a researcher or people that are undertaking development opportunities, it's about forming those relationships. First, get to know the specific or iwi Māori that you're wanting to work with. Let them get to know you. That's important for iwi Māori, to understand who is the person that is wanting to come in and work with them. So yeah, focus on the relationships, build those relationships, and then the work will occur much more smoothly, and a lot more will be given from iwi Māori in regards to that.
Thank you. The next question is regarding Rautaki Māori, and apologies again if I'm not able to read it correctly. How do issues like climate change fit into Rautaki Māori? Is the long-term thinking from Te Ao Māori becoming more important?
Yes, and I touched on this in the presentation in regards to there's a dissatisfaction with current and environmental management practices, and the need and a closer affinity being created with a more holistic and connected approach to environmental management practices. So yes, climate change is important to iwi Māori, and it's important in regards to often our Māori land and are actually in quite prone areas. And Māori are wanting, can see what's coming in regards to the impacts of climate change. Here on the east coast of the North Island, we are particularly focused and aware of the impacts of climate change. So our Rautaki, again, doesn't specifically identify it, but it identifies the importance of the work we're wanting to do, and how that will open up the opportunities for us to connect with and work alongside iwi Māori. So climate change, yes, definitely important in regards to what iwi Māori are seeing on the horizon, and for some of us, like here in the Tairāwhiti on the east coast, it's actually right in our face. And our Rautaki is the frame in which we can have those discussions, the house in which we can build understanding and grow the ability to respond from a community from the professions that we represent.
Thank you. The next question is, are there significant political differences and agendas with the various Maori groups?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and often it's what I see of this in terms of headlines is this Māori doesn't agree with that Māori. They don't know the way they're going. Actually, I think it comes back to recognizing we're all people. We're all people with differing backgrounds. We've got differing values and differing opinions. And just like there will be differences in the way in thinking of non-Māori, there is differences of thinking within Māori. But at the core of it, the values and the principles of Māori are there and will be retained. And it's on that basis to have the conversation and to grow the understanding within.
Thank you. How has the Rautaki been received outside WSP, for example, with iwi Māori and or clients?
Yeah, it's been a really pleasing experience in regards to developing and releasing the Rautaki. To see its I suppose adoption and acceptance within WSP by our staff, but also to get feedback from iwi Māori and our clients. Feedback that we such as, it's good to see that a company actually understands us and actually has laid out a platform, a strategy in regards to how we're that company being WSP is going to work with and alongside iwi Māori. So it's been great in terms of a connection point and the ability to show that we've got an understanding, but also a commitment. And this is the biggest thing, the commitment to grow that understanding and our ability in that space. Many of the clients that I've worked for are excited by the Rautaki. They can see what we're trying to achieve. A lot of our clients here in Aotearoa New Zealand are government or local government organisations. And I say that because those government and local government organisations have a responsibility in regards to the Treaty of Waitangi, Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And so they can, it's about a connection with them and support for them in regards to helping progress them in regards to their ability to give regard and give effect to the treaty. So yes, it's been well received. I suppose a personal anecdote has been following the release of the Rautaki, and as I've mentioned, the recruitment that we've experienced with across our Māori Business Services team in whānau, a lot of that has been as a result of the Rautaki and Māori looking at their career opportunities and actually seeing the Rautaki as something they can connect with, something that they have affinity to, and something that they actually want to be a part of. So yeah, it's been really, it's been well received, and I say that not in an acknowledgement that there's still a lot of work to do, but it's clearly, the Rautaki clearly sets out a framework and also a direction in regards to where we're going, WSP New Zealand is going in this space.
Thank you. I will take the last question. The growth of Maori employees in the last few years was incredible, and I was wondering how it was driven and what led to its apparent incredible success.
And I think I touched on it just in my response to the last question, but in addition, I think the success has been also the buy-in and the commitment given by our New Zealand leadership team to the Rautaki. The support that has been displayed, they get it, they understand it, they can see the need for it, and I think to a certain extent they're really proud to be able to be part of it. They see the value in regards to how and valuing our Māori knowledge or mātauranga and our expertise, but they're also seeing the value that through being able to increase the staff numbers to give opportunities to Māori, removing those inequalities, as I touched on with the United Nations sustainability goals, removing those inequalities that have existed or barriers for Māori within the professions. We're seeing a strong growth of Māori coming through our tertiary institutions with relevant degrees. Now it's the opportunities to give them through employment, and yeah, a special acknowledgement to the New Zealand leadership team, fellow directors on there, our managing director, in regards to the commitment that they've shown and that they've given to the Rautaki within the organisation. Kia ora.
Thank you, Reginald, for a fantastic presentation. All additional questions will be answered directly by the presenters, so please hand it over to you back again to conclude the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all for your time today and the ability to share our kōrero on the Rautaki Māori. Kia ora no koutou, tēnei ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Aha ko he iti he pounamu aroha tonu. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.